Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. Today, we continue our I Cram to Understand You series. We're talking about Tom Thibodeau. And what we're trying to do is listen to each other, understand each other with little, if any, pushback. And I'm going to do my best. I am the queen of pushback, but I'm going to do my best to just listen and hear what you guys have to say about Tom Thibodeau. So I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna try to get my takes out of the way. We don't have phone calls today. I'm in a different location. I forgot to bring my equipment, but I am gonna drop the link. You'll have an opportunity to hop on the panel, give your take, and we have some open spots. Jarrell won't be here today. He's sick. Feel better, big fella. Ajay is out today. Staffer is working. So when I drop the link, if you want to come on the panel and stay a little bit, you can definitely do that tonight. And for those who just want to hop on and give your take, please do so. So we'll do that for the first half of the show. And then the second half of the show, because we're combining, we didn't have a show Tuesday. So we're combining the I Cram to Understand You show with the weekly show. I want to get into the athletics article. They ranked, I don't know how many, 200 maybe players in the NBA, and they ranked them by tiers. I believe they had RJ, Quentin Grimes, and Quickly in that fifth tier, Julius Randle in the 4A tier, something like that, and Brunson in the 3B tier. So we'll talk about that as well. But let me give you my take on Tom Thibodeau. First of all, for those who don't know, candidates that was reported to be interviewing for that position, Tom Thibodeau was my first choice. I thought the Knicks were a hot mess for a very long time. I thought we needed a coach that was going to bring some structure, that had a strong philosophy, who was known for getting teams together and righting the ship. I felt like we needed that. So I thought he was a good hire. And he's really exceeded my expectation. The Knicks are 125 and 111, which is a 53% win percentage during his 4-year tenure here. We've gone to the playoffs 2 out of the 4 years. He was named Coach of the Year. And just career-wise, because I don't think a lot of us think he's a winning coach, because we're watching him game in and game out. But he has a career winning percentage of 57.2% as an NBA head coach. He's ranked 37th all time in wins as a coach in the NBA and 26th in win percentage out of more than 300 NBA um, coaches. So he's a quality coach. He's a quality coach. And I get the complaints. Listen, I don't understand or agree with everything Tom Thibodeau does, but I just have an issue. Oh, I should say I don't understand fans who want him um fired. Some Ajay, who if he's not listening now, will be listening later, talk about, oh, Tibbs has to have his type of players. But when you think about Miami and Spo, they have their type of players. San Antonio and Pop, they have their type of players. There's nothing wrong with a coach having his type of players. And to me, what that signifies is that the Knicks are finally getting it together, that we have a style of play that everybody can't play here. Everybody can't play for Tom Thibodeau. And that's the narrative when it comes to Spoelstra. That's the narrative when it comes to Pop. Everybody can't play for Spo. Everybody can't play for Pop. Everybody can't play for Tom Thibodeau. To me, that's a positive, that we finally have an identity, something we haven't had in a long time. But like I said, there's certain things I don't agree with. Tom, he sticks with his rotation for the most part, even when someone gets hot. Very rarely he'll ride with that hot hand. That's not something I agree with, but I understand that's his philosophy. He's not a big believer in spot minutes. There's times when I would like him to give spot minutes to McBride on the defensive end in the playoffs, and even sometimes through the regular season. I would have liked him to have given spot minutes to Fournier. All right, he's not a great defensive player, but again, in that Miami series, we was really hurting for anybody that can hit a shot. Throw him in there just to see what he can do. You can always pull him back out. That's not, that's not what he does. He's somebody who's known to ride with, his guys. That's his philosophy. I think a lot of us think when we see him, we're like, oh, he's being rigid. It's not rigidity. It's him having a philosophy. This is how he thinks the Knicks have the best team. This particular team, I should say, has the best chance of winning if we play this way, if I coach this way. And he sticks to it. He sticks to it, but he's not different than any other. He's not different than any other um coach. Coaching isn't black or white. I think a lot of us fans, and I put us because, we're all in the same boat, whether we agree with each other or not, think that for any situation on the basketball coach, there's only one decision, on the basketball court, there's only one decision that needs to be made. Only one decision. You got to make the right decision. But the reality is, in that particular situation, you can have three different coaches that make three different decisions for that same situation because they're looking at it from a different perspective. You're always bringing your philosophy to bear on your decision. You're bringing your feel for the game at that particular moment, your feel for the team and how they're playing, your feel for a particular player. He hasn't been right. He hasn't been right in practice. I don't know if I want to put him, in this situation. So a lot comes to bear on a particular situation in a game. And I think we don't have all of those factors. We don't have all of the variables. We don't know everything that goes into making that decision. So in that case, I am a proponent of giving the coach the benefit of the doubt. But I'll say I don't understand that. I don't agree with that. I would have done it different. Anyway, I just want to get to a few quotes from fans. I never once thought he was the problem. Yes, he can be frustrating at times, and sometimes it has cost us games, but he's still one of the best coaches in the league. I respect him. I don't respect some of his tendencies, like his aversion to pick and roll, along with some of his rotational decisions and his strategies at the end of games. I've been critiquing him, but he's nowhere near deserving to be fired. He can be and should be better. Yes, the roster is flawed, but last night was an example of him needing to be better. This was a quote after a game. We like him, just that there are times he can be stubborn, poor rotations, never riding the hot hand, heavy switching on defense, rigorous practices leading to injuries. And then the last one, he's a great defensive coach and gets the most out of everyone, but he doesn't know a lot about offense. Now, if there wasn't any name to these quotes, you would think they're talking about Tom Thibodeau. But no, these are fans talking about Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors and Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat. And it just goes to show, this is what fans do. Fans criticize coaches. Most, if not everybody in this community believes that Kerr and Spoelstra is a better coach than Tom Thibodeau. But yet they're getting the same critiques. And what this shows me is that every coach has his philosophy. Every coach is rocking with their philosophy. And the fans just don't agree with it and understand it. It doesn't make the coach a bad coach. That's just how they see the game. All right. So anyway, I'm going to open it up to the panel. I'm going to let them in. Where we go? There we go. Jeff, Jay Boogie, welcome to the show. Like I said, Ajay, Jarrell, Sick, get better, big fella. And Stafford is working. I'm going to drop the link in a little bit. How you guys doing? And what's your take on Tom Thibodeau?
I'm doing great. Jay Boogie, you want to go first, brother?
It don't make no difference. You the captain. Go ahead, set it off.
All right. Well, I agree with a lot of what Queen had to say.
Right.
But my thing is this, Mike Malone just won a championship. his first 7 years in the league, he had a losing record in the playoffs. And so what I mean to say by that is that just because you haven't won a championship yet doesn't mean you're incapable of winning one. It's still, at the end of the day, it's a players' league, and I think we have some of the best players and excuse me, Brunson and Randle, but we're still coming together as a team. We're still pretty young, and when you look at the bozos that we had in before Tom, I mean, I think he won as many games as the previous 4 coaches combined. And
Right.
I think one other thing to remember is that we tend to be spoiled as Knicks fans because I don't know if you know this, but the top 10 coaches of all time, we've had 4 of them on our sideline. And in fact,
Wow.
one of them didn't have as good a record as Tibbs does, and that was Lenny Wilkens. But
Right.
Lenny Wilkens in his time in Seattle, fantastic coach. Red Holzman, fantastic coach. Pat Riley, fantastic coach. And Don Nelson, fantastic coach. And Nelson had a good tenure with New York. But as far as more recency, though, I mean, the only coach since the turn of the century who's done even half as good a job as Mike Woodson, and we ended up running him out of town too. So I'm for stability at the coaching position. What I like about Tibbs is that he gives us a floor of competency. In other words, even in his worst season, in which he would admit that he did a bad job, we won 37 games. We've had seasons where the coach has done a bad job and won 17 games. And so if his floor, his absolute worst, and I will say, as someone who supports Thibodeau, I thought he did an awful job that season. But he won 37 games, and if that's his floor, and the talent around him or talent on his roster is superior now to what it was then, I think that pushes us in the proper direction as a franchise. And so to me, that continuity, that staying with the same system, that growing together. I mean, Eric Spoelstra, there were plenty of chances for him to get fired. I think 4 of the last 6 coaches to win an NBA championship are no longer with their teams that they won it with. Vogel was with the Lakers. He's gone. Nick Nurse was with the Raptors. He's in Philadelphia. And Budenholzer just got the axe this past season. So that's 3 coaches who are championship coaches. And I think Ty Lue is probably on that list somewhere as well. So that's 4. The coaching position is a hot seat every single year. Now, with that being said, just because I think Tom Thibodeau is a terrific coach doesn't mean I don't think he should be held accountable. I think if the team is not doing a good job, if they're not performing well, then he needs to be on the hot seat. But in my opinion, when they were 10-13 this past season, I think he was on the hot seat. And I think he does have pressure to perform because I think if you just have that job security, like who was that guy in Philadelphia who didn't have to win a game or do anything? Bruce Brown or something like that? I don't remember his name. But anyway, they didn't care if he won or lost. He could be taking a nap on the sideline and it didn't matter. It was all part of the process, I always think that we need to evaluate the situation and see that the job that he's doing from a broad perspective. But I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that this guy's won a lot of games for us. He's won a playoff series for us, and we've been in the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. Those are all huge steps forward as far as the culture of this organization. And I think that's what he was brought here to do, was change the culture. And I think this organization has a winning culture. And it starts with the fact that Thibodeau is married to the game of basketball. Thibodeau's married to the game of basketball, and guess what? So are his players. You look at guys like Quickly and RJ and Grimes and Randle and Brunson and Hart. They're gym rats. They're always looking to improve. So they've taken on the personality of the coach, and that permeates through the franchise. And those are winning habits. And I think winning habits are important. And guess what? When you develop those winning habits, then the superstar players think more of your franchise and are more willing to come to your team because they say that's a team that's doing it the right way, and I could win a championship there.
Right. What do you say to fans who believe that we can't win with Tom? Like, he's a good regular season coach, but for whatever reason, they believe that you can't win a big game with Tom Thibodeau. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a great question. It's kind of hard to answer though, because we won't ever know if he can do it until he does it. I think you would say the same thing about Mike Malone until, they won the championship this year. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, not Tom Thibodeau, Greg Popovich hasn't even qualified for the playoffs in the last 5 years. Does that mean he's a terrible coach who can't win anything? No, that just means that the roster isn't in place on San Antonio right now for them to be a championship competitive team. And so my answer to that is I don't think he's had a championship caliber roster to coach yet. Now, if we have that roster and he's underachieving with them, which is possible, I'm not saying that's not possible, but if that is the case, then it's time to start looking in a different direction. But for right now, from my perspective, what I'm seeing is Tom is taking teams that aren't expected to perform at a certain level, and he's performing above those expectations. And if you're performing above expectations, one, I think that makes you a good coach. And two, I think that means you don't want to fire that guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I dropped the link after Jay Boogie speaks. Anybody who wants to hop on and give your opinion, listen, this is the I Cram to Understand You show. You're going to get very little pushback from me. I'm just trying to understand. So, Keith Turner, I know you're not a big Tom Thibodeau fan. I would love for you to hop on and just give your opinion. You don't have to have your video on, just audio only, and just give your opinion. It's hard to do that in just 200 characters. I believe that's what they give you, what you get in the chat. But Jay Boogie, your thoughts overall on Tom Thibodeau and his job so far?
Yeah, I'm gonna start. Shout out to the chat, shout out to the queen, shout out to the captain, shout out to everybody up under this orange and blue. It's getting almost that time. It's getting almost that time. We moving right along. It's on before you know it, we're gonna be back in that building. We're gonna be back in front of that TV. We're gonna be back to cheering. We're gonna be back to podcasting all the way around because the season gonna be right back in our hands. But I'm gonna start off and answer your question. Prove he can't win a big game. Prove it to me, Jay Boogie, that Tom can't win a big game. And if you tell me he can't win a big game, I'm going to tell you the reason why he couldn't win the big games. Let's start with go back to the Atlanta Hawks series. He had no point guard. And he's dealing with a bunch of young guys that never been in the playoffs. And you're dealing with a dude that's never been a number one, that doesn't know nothing about trading and passing the ball and get rid of the ball out of double teams and don't know where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to check that list off. Anybody feel differently from that? Go ahead, make your comments. And then tell me about last season. We had guys that couldn't make shots at the most crucialest time. We had guys that couldn't get rebounds in the fourth quarter in Miami when we could have won that game. We had guys that don't know how to play in big time moment situations. Ain't but so much a coach can do on the floor of the sideline to get his guys to make sure they're doing what's needed to be done. You can't coach making shots. You can't coach effort. You can't coach none of them things, So I say again, prove it to me he can't win the big game. But far as, getting rid of him, I'm one of the guys that's on Tom's side because I'm not too much of a Steve Kerr fan. He didn't want to come here first thing first. But that lets me know he can't build nothing from ground up. He had to go somewhere that was ready-made. A lot of coaches could have went over there. A lot of y'all in the chats could have went to Golden State and led that team, to get to where they at. So then come the next thing. We go get a coach that can't coach. All we know is he's there for recruiting, but he recruited nobody. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know who I'm talking about. Well, I can't even think of his name no more. But still in all, we get a coach that come here to help restore, the organization, bring us back to life and we want to get rid of him for whatever reason that you choose that he's not going to fit. But what coach was you going to bring in to take his position? First thing first. What coach was going to be on this line, on the sideline, to be able to do what Tom did with the roster that he had and with the coaching staff he had? What coach that you know that's going to come into a brand new organization that doesn't bring his own crew to be on the sideline with him? Most coaches, when they come in, they bring their own crew with them. Tom didn't come here with nobody. His crew was handpicked by Leon Rose, handpicked the roster, handpicked the players. So he just threw him up under the bus to do what you can do, whatever you can do, and people feel like Tom not doing a good job. You need your own coaching staff. And don't forget, okay, he brought Woody over here. Woody came, but Woody bounced. You know, Woody bounced and went and got his money. Also, Payne, he bounced and went and got his money. So when them guys start bouncing and everything, then everybody flipped and started talking about Johnny Bryant then. What situations has he ever been? What would Johnny Bryant have done with this team right there? Cool. You went to Julius, you kicked it with him, you hollered at him during the off season, you brought him back to reality. Yaku, that's your good job. As far as being on that sideline and doing X's and O's and big time moments and big time situations, where do you know the experience of Johnny Bryant from anywhere as far as basketball? So tell me who's going to come and be in Tom's position that's going to lead us in his first in that season where Julius was an all-star MVP, where he was an all-star and the most improved player, and then we slipped off because of Leon made moves and broke up the roster. Then he came back the following year, which is his third year, and took us all the way to 10 games away from a championship parade. Tell me what coach is going to do that. His roster, this is the closest Tom roster has been as far as almost being completed. It's like two players to play. One, we need another all-star, and we need another wing defensive player. Then this roster will be complete. But this roster right here is about 87% fully, completed as far as Tom. Let's see what Tom can do with this roster right here that's ready to go to the playoff. You got perimeter guys. You got guys that can dribble the ball. You got guys that can catch and shoot. You got guys that can get their own shot. We got bigs. We got a lot of things going on, in our situation. If it doesn't work, then yeah, you can blame it on Tom. But I'm not going to be one of the ones that's going to blame all that on Tom. All coaches make errors and make mistakes during crucial times of the games, But how many coaches could have led the New York Knicks back to where they were? Tom has got us so far, and so far as where we shouldn't have been, but where we at now, that everybody's happy. Just look across the board, YouTube. How many podcasters is being open? Tom is leading all that, helping us get ready, and y'all still want to throw him up under the bus for the person that y'all want. Who you going to go get? Please tell us in the chat, who are you going to get? What coach is available to come right here to be in front of the media, never run from that microphone, and do the things that Tom that Tom does? A gym dude that's always in the gym, always in the office, and always ready to try to do anything to help benefit this team. What coaches are you going to bring here that's going to take Tom's place? Now, after the season, if we go get a superstar or something, do a trade deadline, and we lose in the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? Then you can say, well, Tom can't get, maybe we need another coach somewhere that can lead these guys. But as far as I know, I never heard none of the players say anything wrong about Tom. I heard them say anything they don't like the coach. I ain't never heard them say they only appreciate he running us too hard and all that. Never heard none of that. So if you ain't hearing none of that, why are we saying that Tom shouldn't be the guy? I'm not saying he is the guy, but right now I don't see nobody that can take Tom's spot and do what Tom did through these first 3 years. And this is fourth year, and you best believe Tom gonna coach his butt. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You're not even gonna play for Tom. Tom looking for a contract extension. That fifth season, you don't go into your last year without a contract. So if Tom don't get one, then you know he's not gonna be here. But best believe you're gonna see Tom put on his best coaching aspect that he can do as far as this game. But Tom ain't had a full roster to do anything. So why am I throw him up on the bus and get him up out of here? If he had a full roster and he wasn't leading us right, then I can say yeah. But, man, he ain't had no full roster. Why you think Tom stayed all the way up there to check-in line? Maybe you don't want to be down there with the bench, with the people down there. Guys don't know how to coach. Give me some assistant coaches and stuff like that. Tom developing coaches, developing players, and everything. Tom doing everything. Everything. Leon ain't done it because the decisions that Leon made was the wrong decision. And it took Tom to twist him back around and take the 9 off in RJ's jersey and put it in the rotation and get us back to the playoffs, man. That's Tom's doing, man. Come on, y'all. Get a guy a break, man. man, saggy pants, ain't got a belt on and nothing. He's sweating all across his head, all every way. His hair curling up the opposite way this year. Now he's going backwards. It's going this way this year. He's so tuned in. Let's go, Tom. I'm cheering for Tom. If Tom put on, guess what? We're doing big things. I'm cheering for Tom.
Oh boy. Quiet Money. Log back in, and I'll let you on. I'll let you on the panel. Listen, we don't have to agree about Tom Thibodeau. That's what this show is about. Get your comments up. I'm gonna go through the chat right now. Get your comments up. The link is in the chat. Hop on the show. I really wish I really wish I had the phone, man. I almost dropped another 500 just to get another one, and I said, "No, I can't do it." All right.
Tell them your pager number. We got a pager. Page the number. We gonna call you down.
But the only way, then we got to do it like ghetto style when they call it. You know how you put it to the mic, so they can go. All right, let me get to some of them. Let me get to some of these comments. And like I said, Quiet Money, if you still around, hop back on. R. De La Cruz, appreciate you rocking with us. Dudes expecting Tibbs to lead us to a chip in 3 years, like we weren't the laughing stock of the league for 20 years. We finally got our identity back, and dudes want to fire him. LOL. Shaking my head. Okay. JJ, appreciate you. If we don't win at least a round again, it's going to be looked at as a disappointing season. You know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'll say, though. You look at Spoelstra's record, there was times early on where he could have been fired. But because of his relationship with Pat Riley, because Pat Riley believed in him, he was allowed, and the team was allowed, to come back from a disappointing season. Same thing with Mike Malone. I want to say 4, 5, maybe 6 of those years they lost in the first round, and he kept coming back because the front office believed in him and allowed him to work through it. Same thing with it might have been just those two. So I'm happy about Tibbs' relationship with Leon Rose. Maybe because they're friends, he believes in Tom. Maybe if there is a bad season, like 2 years ago when we only had 37 wins, they didn't get rid of Tom. I'm not sure if that would have happened anyway. It was only his second year and he was coming off a Coach of the Year. But I like the fact that he has the relationship with Leon Rose. So if we do have a down season, give the guy a benefit of a doubt. Let coaches and teams work through bad seasons, disappointing seasons where they don't, meet, expectations. So I agree, JJ. It will be looked at as a disappointing season if we get bounced in the first round next season. But you can argue that the reason the Knicks made it to the second round, or one of the reasons, was because of the matchup we had with Cleveland. That if it was a different matchup, the outcome might have been different.
And Thibodeau outcoached Bickerstaff in that series, just to be clear.
Right. And players showed up.
Hey, Queen, real quick.
Yes.
This is Tom's season. Relating a little bit to what my guy JJ Cardoza in the house, everybody in the house, but that me and JJ Cardoza guy, so we orange and blue twice. But this is Tom's season right here. Okay. When we came back from playing Atlanta, that season was not Tom. Because Leon went on a New York story with the Kimber thing, and and got rid of our defensive wing and forced RJ to stop working out on his game and hit the weights and moving into the 3 and all that. That had nothing to do with Tom. That was Leon's move. So when the third season come and Tom adjusted, because he didn't get as a point guard, really that could stand the rain in season 2. But now you got a point guard, okay, So now you're seeing what Tom can do with a little bit with a point guard. He put Jalen Brunson in the same role as Derrick Rose. If you know anything about watching him when he was with the Chicago Bulls up under Tom, he put him in the same role, but they had better wing players and more experienced players. So this year right here, this roster is made for Tom. And I agree with JJ. If we don't win a series, if we do anything less than what we did last year with a more experienced roster, a second-year point guard, another guy, Josh Hart, with a full season and more experience around the table. If we don't win a series, then it's Tom. I agree. I'm gonna say it's Tom because he had the tools that was better than last season. But the other year, season 2, he didn't have the tools, for that was really better than season 1. But season 3, he became better than 2, and he became better than 1. So now we have season 4. Tom has to get it. He cannot come back and we not win a series. He cannot.
Right. I will say this: if it does happen, it would be disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be fired, though, if it does happen. I think teams underachieve all the time. It happens. I think his track record is such that, to me, I feel like it can't be. Oh, fine, you did good, you did good. All right, one bad season, you out. You got to go. We got to bring in somebody else, because that's a reset in terms of bringing in another coach, bringing in another season. Excuse me, another culture, another system, as opposed to bringing that team back and giving them an opportunity to be better the next season. But I agree, it would definitely be a disappointment. And I agree with you, Jay Boogie. This team is the most Tom Thibodeau type team since he's been here. And I agree. I think we're one all-star away, one defensive wing away, one Julius Randle popping in the playoffs away. Because if Julius Randle performs in the playoffs the way he performs in the regular season, we don't need another star, in my opinion. We can rock with him and Brunson. I'm not saying we don't need to get that defensive wing. We do, but I'm saying if you got 2 stars, we don't need another one. Excuse my video. We don't need another one. So, and that can happen in the next playoffs here. I'm not giving up on Julius Randle. I know a lot of fans are, as far as becoming that guy in the playoffs, because I believe there's levels to this, and you master the regular season, you know how to perform and how to show up despite being on the top of the scouting reports game in and game out. Then you get to the playoffs, it's a little different. Some players got to go through it a few times before they get their footing. He was injured last season, last playoffs. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But when you hear him talk on these podcasts and on the what was that? He was on another show. Was it the barbershop? I forgot the name of it. The Shop, for short. You hear him talk, he gets it. He gets it. So I think he'll be better next season. But let's get to this comment. Kevin Bergen, appreciate you. If we have every player and no injuries and bounced in the first round, y'all giving Tibbs an extension. I am. But I understand those who wouldn't want to. Julian Blum, if he's not moving us forward using the same schemes, he should go. That's how your team grows. It can't get stuck in the past. Okay. All right. There was a few.
While she looking for the chat, y'all know Adji, he's not here this, for this Thursday evening. Y'all know what he talk about. He talk about hitting them likes. We got 111 people watching and only got 31 likes. I cram to understand that. Hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. That's the only thing she asking. Hit the like button, please.
David L. Tibbs daydreaming. The Rogan is tingling. This is my day. My hair grows, what, 20 minutes straight, no rest. Tibbs got to stay focused. There's a joke in there. There's a joke in there somewhere. DJ Dax, why is this even a topic? It's part of the I Cram to Understand You series, right? This is August, slow content month. So we decided that we was going to take topics that the Knicks are divided, the fan base is divided on, and do a I Cram to Understand You show, right? So we did Julius Randle, we did RJ Barrett, we did Mitchell Robinson. Today, Tom Thibodeau. Just having some fun. Ashley Inc. Work smarter than harder, work hard, but better work smart. Tibbs is a good coach, not a great coach, especially because of his offensive limitations, his lack of timely rotations, his stubbornness. But this is what we talk about, Ashley Inc. What you and a lot of fans see as stubbornness is his philosophy. That's his philosophy. Whatever he's doing over and over again. Oh, he's so stubborn. He's so rigid. He should do this. He's sticking to his philosophy. And you know what? Steve Kerr is getting the same complaints out in Golden State, and Eric Spoelstra is getting the same complaints in Miami. And I was looking, if you Google fans' criticism of Spoelstra, fans' criticisms of Steve Kerr, fans' criticism of Pop, any coach, you're going to get those Reddit streams. And when I was reading them, if you didn't tell me who they were talking about, I would have thought they was talking about Tom Thibodeau. Especially Steve Kerr. They feel like he's not a good coach. A lot of the fans, not everybody. He's not a good coach. He's winning because he have the players. They don't like his rotations. He likes to stick with small ball rotations. And he's stubborn as far as his rotations are concerned. Same thing with Spoelstra. So what we're seeing as stubbornness, I think it's just that's the coach's philosophy. That's how they like to roll. This is just how they see it. Anybody else? Any comments on that?
You know what? One thing that I'll say about it is this: if it's my job on the line, I'm going out my way. You know what I'm saying? He's the one who's on the chopping block, so he's going to go out the way that he knows how to do it, and I don't blame him for that in the least. If you're going to go out with what you know best. And I don't necessarily buy the offensive criticism. He's got a team full of jump shooters who can't shoot. And because of the system that he implemented, we were a top 5 offense. Now you can say what you want about how that looks, and there's a methodology, a formula, as Queen puts it. And I understand that and I agree with that. But who put the formula in place and did the formula work? Tibbs put the formula in place, and the formula worked. Did it have breakdowns in the playoffs? Yes, it did. Are there things that need to be analyzed and fixed? Yes, there are. Are those things fixable more so by getting players who can put the ball through the hoop instead of on the rim? Probably so. And so you have all of those things. If you have a team of guys who can't shoot, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do all of these things that accentuate high 3-point shooting, and we still shot a high volume of shots, but we did it in a way to maximize what our strengths were on offense, which was dribble penetration and offensive rebound. So I think from that aspect, he's working with the strengths of the roster that he has. Now, if you want to say that you don't like the aesthetic of it, that's perfectly reasonable. I understand that. Personally, I don't really care what the aesthetic is. If the Knicks end up with more points at the end of the day than the team that we're playing, it can be as ugly as it wants to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out to J-Tap. Appreciate you. If Tibbs is so stubborn, I cram to understand why he didn't stay with Grimes once he got healthy in the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, I get that. For me, I thought Grimes was a little shook, quite frankly. And remember, Josh Hart played lights out in that Cleveland series. Go back and look at his stats and his efficiency versus Grimes. So I think even though Grimes was healthy in that Miami series because of how Josh Hart played, Josh Hart got the nod to start um, in that series. Eventually, though, if I'm not mistaken, he did go back. He did go back to Grimes. How do you know Kerr can handle New York City? He inherited a team full of Hall of Famers from Mark Jackson. Kerr doesn't coach New York City defense. This is a defense first city. Okay. Eric Spoelstra outcoached Tom Thibodeau point blank, so that's why the Knicks didn't shoot well. I mean, even if he did outcoach Tom Thibodeau, what does that have to do with the Knicks not shooting well?
Really?
You know, those boys tightened up on us, and Tom Thibodeau had no answer on the offensive end coaching. Brooklyn Butch, I appreciate you rocking with us. I'm not going to push back too much. I understand where you're coming from. I just disagree. Listen, that series was so close. I think and the Knicks are not a good shooting team. I think we were ranked 21st in 3-point shooting out of 30 teams. Had we just shot our regular percentage, we would have beat Miami. Had we just shot our regular percentage, we would have beat Miami. So if guys were tightening up, I'm not sure how that's Tom Thibodeau. That guy's tightened up in the playoffs. And I'll say this for Miami. Miami was a terrible shooting team in the regular season. Terrible. Worse than the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken. If the light didn't turn on and they didn't start hitting at a higher percentage and hitting these timely shots, they would have went home too. They would have
may
went
not
home.
even made the playoffs.
They may
might have
not have
been in the
even. They
playoffs.
were a terrible shooting team. But in the playoffs, they turned it on. They got the timely shooting. Strauss, Strus, Vincent, those guys showed up big and started hitting shots, and Miami was able to advance. Had our guys did the same thing, we would have advanced as well. No doubt about it. People talk about our offense, and listen, you could put backdoor cuts in there. You could put pick and rolls for Mitchell Robinson. You could do whatever you want to do, but the offense generates open looks. You got to knock them down. You got to knock them down.
Sometimes when the coach is not coaching good, you know what I'm saying, you need other revenues to come through and step up, and people compare, I wish we would stop comparing our situation with Miami. Because when Eric is not doing this thing, guess what? He got Quinn over there, which is probably the top rated assistant coach in the game, Quinn, because he's getting all the tools, you know what I'm saying? And then if you ain't got him, you got Bob McAdoo. You got Alonzo Mourning. And if you ain't got none of them players, guess what? You got Udonis Haslem. That's somebody over there is going to make sure these guys can get it in tune. We didn't have nobody over here after Tom. Players wasn't even checking one another's, getting at one another about what's going on. So, we need to stop comparing ourselves to Miami, and Eric wasn't all the rumbling that Eric might get fired early in it. Eric won't never going to get fired. You know why? Because that's Pat Riley's boy. He groomed that boy. He raised that guy, and he raised that guy. So when he take his old self off that stool, that's who's going to take his spot, and Quinn is going to take Eric's spot. But haven't ever thought the people, what I'm saying? Because everybody got their men's and their guys who they rock with. Have anybody ever thought about, what I'm saying, that maybe that's Leon Rose's just guy? That's his man. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's getting all this extra. That's his man. He didn't go get nobody else because it wasn't nobody else for this job, for Leon Rose to go and get. It was Tom, and he put everything on Tom. That's his man. So he's not just going to get rid of the guy just like that, a snap of the finger for a few things, because he has the confidence in his guy. If we get it right, he'd be able to do some things, you know what I'm saying, that New York has not done in a long period of time. Forget over 50 years with a championship. It's been 25 years since we even went to the finals. You know what I'm saying? So we just have a little bit more patience, man. Y'all wanted the young guys. He got the young guys coming up. If he'd have got rid of the young guys and brought in other old guys and blow the contract money all out of place, We'd have been saying we should have kept the young guys. So now when we do it in a way that some of these guys really want to develop and bring up our own, which Tom is doing, that's Tom's doing, you know what I'm saying? Then, people have something else to say. But just get a guy a chance, man, with a full, complete roster. This is show.
Yeah. Keith Turner, but Tibbs' philosophy don't win championships. Kerr and Spo don't compare Tibbs to them guys. Listen,
How do you know?
But do you think it was Kerr and Spo's philosophy that won them the championship, or the players they had on the team? Because what did Spo do before Dwayne Wade, Shaq, and LeBron James? What did Kerr do, or what do you think he would do without Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green? Rosters matter. And listen, I'm not saying the criticism on Tom Thibodeau is not fair. Some of it is fair.
Mhm.
But to say that, oh, he hasn't won a championship yet, so you can't talk about him with those guys. The only reason those guys won championships is because they had the players. You think Kerr is winning a championship with this team? You think Spoelstra is winning a championship with this team? So I'm going back to, I think it was Jeff's, or was it Boogie's point. When we have a championship roster and we don't get it done, then you can criticize the coach. But how can you say he's not a championship coach when you don't even have a championship roster? Doc Rivers got fired. I thought it was unfair because I thought at both times he got fired with the Clippers and with with Philly, it was game sevens in which Kawhi and Paul George didn't show up and or didn't have their best games with the Clippers. Then Embiid and Harden didn't have their best games with the Clippers. But that's how it rolled. You got an MVP all-star player, you got a good enough roster, you don't get it done, the coach takes the heat. Tom Thibodeau ain't he don't have that type of roster. Spo, let me know if you think Spo is taking this team to the championship. If Steve Kerr, right now, if they was on this team, would take this team to a championship. We expecting Tom Thibodeau to do something some of the best coaches in this league wouldn't be able to do. Put Pop on this team. You're going to tell me that this Knicks is going to the championship because Pop is the coach? Come on. Pop had David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Manu, all of these Hall of Famers, all-star, all NBA players when they played. Come on now. Let's be fair.
With the same coaching staff.
Right.
Don't forget, with the same coaching staff. Because I promise you can count them this season as soon as you can count them when the season starts. We got the most laptops on the sideline. A lot of teams, they just got clipboards. They doing X's and O's. I don't need no laptop.
Right. Salute, Quiet Money. How you doing? I just want to read this super chat, and then I'm coming right to you. Shout out to Paris Duggar. Brunson gonna give up on Randle if Randle doesn't show he's not ready for primetime play, especially his mentality. Jules gets shook under pressure. Yeah, I hear you, Paris Duggar. You rocking with the same narrative. I mean, what I will say is, yes, there are times during a game, not all the time, in pressure situations where you'll get a turnover from Randle is not the best decision. I still think guys have to get used to certain situations. I'm still holding out hope that Randle is going to be better in the playoffs. Look at Joel Embiid. He's a superstar. He's the MVP of the league. He's struggling in the playoffs as well, getting his team to the Eastern Conference Finals. There's levels to this. You master one level, it gets harder. You got to master, the next level. I'm still in on Julius Randle. It remains to be seen. Quiet Money, how are you?
What's good? What's good? Salute to the panel. See Boogie.
Quiet Money, what's good, baby?
Salute. I kind of been waiting for this episode. I think this one is even more. I've been waiting for it. I was anticipating this even more than the RJ episode. I can't understand for RJ because fans don't have a clue about what coaches do. Like, you don't have a clue. You don't know anything. First of all, when you see a lineup, you got to understand that it's a pecking order in the front office. It's a GM and it's a president. Tibbs has to do what the GM tells him to make happen. So when you see rotations, it ain't always Tibbs' decision. A lot of times it's politics, and you got to understand that. You got to understand that. Not every time Tibbs get to do what he want to do. He has to. He got bosses. He don't call the shots. Like Jay Boogie said, he didn't even pick his own coaching staff. Like, come on. Y'all don't know anything of what Tibbs does from day to day. You don't have a clue. You don't know. You just don't know. We don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. With that little incident that just happened with Toronto, they said the dude stole over 3,000 fouls. Over 3,000 fouls. 3,000. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a large number. I'm expecting some type of serious penalty for that. But 3,000 fouls? And they said it's because I guess the coach was a rookie coach, and he wanted to. He's just not experienced. And the guy that worked for us, he was under Tibbs. He was under Tibbs. He got to see how Tibbs ran his operations from day to day. So they chose to steal from the Knicks. The people said, why would he want to steal from the Knicks? It's so much that goes into coaching that fans don't understand. The casual fans don't understand. It's basketball stuff that fans don't understand. Basic basketball stuff, like actually realizing what a player's capabilities are. Like, really, what's a ceiling? What a player's actual ceilings are. Like, fans don't understand this stuff. They don't know. They're hopeful. They're hopeful, and they want things done how they feel it should be done. But that's just not reality. That's not reality. Tibbs has helped taking this team out garbage. We was trash. We were bad. We were horrible. Tibbs is already going down as one of the best coaches in Knicks history. He's already stamped. He's already stamped. Because we didn't have a lot of player preferences. And we got 2 under him in 3 years. So I just shake my head a lot. I hear people saying, "Oh, Tibbs can't coach. Tibbs run a basic offense." I'm like, do you understand? You have Mitchell Robinson in your starting lineup who can't shoot from nowhere, can't do anything on offense besides catch lobs. Do you understand? You have RJ Barrett, who's a very inefficient player, doesn't have any set spots on the court where he can get to and stroke it from, or he's efficient from. He doesn't have any of that, but he's in the starting lineup, and he has to play 30-plus minutes. And that's over Tibbs' head. Tibbs just gotta try to make it work. It befuddles me when I hear some of the things that fans say. Like what more you want? Like the panel made good points, like great points. Like, if we don't have shooters, if we're devoid of shooters, how are we gonna run these intricate offenses? Or we got players that can't pass. I've not seen Mitchell Robinson make a good pass his whole career since playing on the Knicks. No lie. Like, honestly speaking, you got these type of players out there, and they playing bulk minutes. Like, what do you want? What do you want the coach? What plays? What is he gonna do? He's not a magician. He's exceeded his win total, his projection win total every season. I can't find no problem with that. I can't. Now, if we had a championship roster and we were underperforming, we weren't making the projections or things that we should get, then I would have a problem. Oh, I would have a problem with him. But that's not the case. I have nothing bad to say about Tibbs because I know it's a whole nother world that I'm not privy to know. I don't know. You don't know these things. I'm sorry, fans. You don't know everything. All you see is the show at the end of the day. Do you understand, like, to be a coach, you need to be good at math? It's spacing. I'm serious. Everybody got to be in a certain amount of feet away from each other. They got to be moving certain. It's crazy. And coaching is not easy. I don't know.
Don't get your blood pressure. Don't get your blood pressure.
My blood pressure been up, Steph. My blood pressure been up. It been up. I've been fed because fans don't understand. They sound stupid. They sound dumb in the chat and they sound dumb on Twitter. Yeah. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. We don't get to see players day in, day out of practice. You don't even know what's going on. You don't know. And another thing about development stuff, because everybody talks about, oh, he needs to develop. Not everybody has the capacity to develop into all-star talent. It's just they act like if you have a good developmental coaching staff that you could turn anybody into a good player. No, some players are just not going to be good. We've had number 1 picks that were busts. Like, it don't work that way. And it happens, it doesn't happen during the season. It happens in the off season. Players get better in the off season. Because during the season, you got games. You got travel, you got games, and you got scout reports and game plans that you got to prepare for. So it's going to happen in the off season. So if we have a player and he's been here 5 years and he has not improved, that's not Tibbs' fault. They have to understand that. That's up to that's the player's capacity, his work ethic, and that's it. It's not only. I mean, the coaches can give them pointers and things that they want to see them work on, but you don't just develop anybody. It don't happen like that.
Right. Listen, those in the chat, hop on the panel. Paris Duggar, if you want,
get on the panel.
Yeah, hop on the panel.
Please,
I mean, and we can disagree. We can disagree.
Yeah,
we don't have to agree with each other.
It's a truth to everything.
Right.
It's a truth to everything.
Right.
It's some things that are facts, and then it's some things that are opinions. I don't go with opinions too much. I try to stay in the factual area.
Right.
I mean, everybody has an opinion, but I try to deal with the facts. Like they say, oh, Julius Randle's a bum. He's not good. Like, but he made All NBA twice in 3 years.
Right.
That's just not possible. I'm not doing that. I'm not entertaining that. You can't.
Right.
We can't have a conversation if you go, Trey Randle, just trade like Paris Duggar. Trey Randle all the time. He is the best player. Sorry, fellas. Sorry, panel. Sorry, everybody. He's the best player on the team, and that's just what it is. Period. It's 2 sides to the ball. Now, he's not a world beater on defense, but he not getting dogged out by nobody. We rarely see Julius Randle get dogged out. Just saying.
But Quiet Money, can I say this though?
Sure.
Don't you think to be the best player on the team, you got to come through consistently for the team? Like, that's my only pushback about Julius Randle being the best player on the team.
The only time he hasn't come through consistently is in the playoffs. And that's a small sample size of games. Yeah, it's the money time. I agree. But the first time, that team had no business there. They had no business being the 4th seed. I don't care what nobody say.
No,
Not one
I
analyst.
agree.
So okay, so we in over our head. And that was his first time there. Understand, Julius Randle, for us, been to the playoffs twice. Now, 2 times, I don't think that's enough to say, oh, you're not good. You can't perform in the playoffs. See, that don't make sense to me. I need
Right.
more. I need more. Now, well, if you want to talk about Embiid or a team that's a perennial playoff team, and they're constantly there every year, they're always in the mix, and they don't perform, those top players don't perform in the playoffs, then you can say, okay, he's not a good playoff player. But if he's been there 2 times, one was his first time, had no business there, but he did bad, so he got to own that. The second time, he had a significant injury. It wasn't a joke, wasn't a myth. He actually had the surgery. Okay, now this third time, I'm gonna go out on them right now on your show, Steph, on your show, and tell you and say my take, what I think is that he tops his scoring average from last year.
It's not even about this. I don't even care about that in the regular season.
But
in the playoffs, he got to
perform.
Care
about, right?
I care about the playoffs.
But see,
I care about the playoffs.
He
could be MVP next season.
I've been meaning to talk to you about this stuff. I've been meaning to talk to you about this.
But I don't want to get off the topic too much.
I got you now. I got you.
I understand, but we did the Randle. We did the Randle show already.
It'll be quick.
Okay, real quick.
It's quick. We can't judge no one on this team we can't give them playoff expectations if we're not a playoff team or we haven't been a playoff team. That's just what it is.
What do you mean we can't have playoff expectations?
Like we can't I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I meant championship expectations when we're not a perennial playoff team. Now, if we're a perennial playoff team, okay, now we can start talking about championships and our standard being, oh, they got to win a championship. But if we're not a perennial, we got to become a perennial playoff team, no matter who's on the roster, before we start talking about championships. That's just something I want to talk to you about.
I mean, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. But some teams, if you get the right mix of players, you can go from being in the playoffs 2 years in a row and being in the Eastern Conference Final.
They got a superstar or multiple stars, or it ain't happening.
Well, if Randle is who you say he is, then we should be there sooner than later.
He wasn't always. He wasn't always who he is. He actually got himself up.
I understand that, but the point is, if Randle is who you say he is, we should be there sooner than later.
We're gonna stand on that.
If he's who he say you is, we should be there. We should be there sooner than later.
The fans only won anyway because they said he'll never make another All-NBA, another All-Star.
Right. But let's get back to Tibbs though. Let's get back to Tibbs because we did Randle a few. That one gonna go on forever. Yeah. Blood of the Panther. I think I got that right. Salute to the chat and the panel. Special salute to the queens and the closer. Blessings to everyone. Appreciate you. Paris Duggan. If you think Randle and Tibbs are limiting our future and they haven't actually been a part of us being successful, then I don't really know what to say to you. You're entitled to your opinion. I just disagree. So there's been a little pushback. Quiet Money.
Let's go.
Brooklyn Butch. Quiet Money is way off base. He absolutely is not talking about any facts. These are his opinions. He said players don't get better during the season. They only get better in the off season. I think he was talking about development.
Is that not time? Is that not the time? Is the off season not the time when players work on their game and get better?
Right. And then
You don't learn nothing during the season. You don't have time to work on anything.
Okay, Paris Duggar. The Knicks were favored against Atlanta. Why didn't they have no business there? Okay.
Because every sports analyst, the professionals, said we had no business there. And I think they know a little bit more than we do. Just saying. Paris.
De La Cruz, we were favored against Atlanta because we had the better record. They had the better, more complete team that year.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anything else about Thibodeau before we move on? Shout out to Staffer in the chat, working hard. Appreciate you dropping in. Again, we agree to disagree. That's it.
Except I had a question for you, Stuff. Maybe do know what goes in the day-to-day, like as far as a head coach, like what he does. What does the NBA
I mean,
coach do?
I could talk
Like,
from my experience. Jeff can talk from his experience, and if there's anybody else in the chat who's coached, you could talk from your experience.
NBA, not regular.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
It's a whole nother ball game. That's not college. Well, it's close to college, but it's not just regular basketball. That's NBA. It's a whole nother ball game. I don't think they get paid millions of dollars to do things that anybody could do. That's just smart. That's the smart my assumption. I'll assume that.
I'm trying to find this statement. Keith Turner, nothing but respect. I respect you, but for you to say that Spo and who's the other one, Kerr, won because of their philosophy and not their players. Come on.
That's nonsense.
Come on. Now, well, can it be a little of both? Do you have to have a certain philosophy to take advantage of the players that you have on the team? Absolutely. But you're not going to tell me that it was just the philosophy, which is why they won. They had the players.
When Clay and Curry were hurt, the Warriors were the second worst team in basketball.
Right. Where did the philosophy get? That's a very good point, Jeff. Where did the philosophy get Steve Kerr when Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson were hurt? If it was the philosophy, they shouldn't have fell into the lottery. Right? If it was the philosophy, whatever players they had on the roster, that philosophy should have been able to help them rise to the occasion and make the playoffs. They went right to the lottery with that same philosophy. Why? Because they didn't have the players. Rosters matter. And listen, I'm not saying that a coach can't make the wrong decision at the wrong time. I'm not saying a coach can't freeze. I can't say, that a coach can, a lot of things can happen. I'm not saying coaches are perfect. I'm not even saying Tom Thibodeau is perfect. There's some things Tom Thibodeau does I don't understand, I don't like. But for him to be fired, or you don't think you can win a championship when he hasn't even had the roster yet for you to make that determination, that part I don't.
I agree with you 1,000% with that. 1,000%.
50 years of hip hop. KRS-One famous line. Oh, you a philosopher? Oh, I guess I think very deeply.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Keith Turner is good. People riled up in the chat. It's good. You don't have to like Thibodeau. You can have your own opinion. Everybody just relax. If you like Tibbs, you like him. If you don't like him, you don't like him. It's all good. We all fam. That's what this is about. Just why? This is the part that I don't understand. I don't like Tibbs. I don't like Randle. Get rid of him. I don't like. Just add something to it. I don't like Tibbs because I've seen A, B, and C, and I just don't think that's going to work in the playoffs. Good. That helps us understand whether we agree or disagree. That helps us understand. But to just say, "Oh, this one is a bonehead," I think we need to get rid of the team because he's always making. But like, just give your reason why so that we can understand each other. That's what we're talking about here. I'm not trying to pit those who like Tibbs against those who don't. I'm trying to understand if you don't like him, why don't you like him? That's it.
Some context.
Put some context. Put some context to it. That's all. Yeah. All right, Keith. All right. I'm just checking on you, my brother. He said he's good over here. I'm just checking on you. That's all. I'm glad you're good.
We appreciate you all liking the show. I see us right now. We at 110. We going up and down 110, 111. We don't want to lose nobody, but we are above 60 likes right now. So that's good right there. We appreciate that, man.
Yeah, definitely. Get those likes up. If you're appreciating the content, you're appreciating the show, get the likes up. We got 112 in the show. We got just a little over 50% hitting the like button. That
we
definitely.
Mr. Robinson free throw. Let's get up to Jalen Brunson at least.
Right. Let's get it up to Jalen Brunson's free throw percentage at least. We just passed Mitchell Robinson.
Okay, we at 71.
That ain't saying much.
We're approaching RJ now at 72. At 72, right?
That's Julius.
Oh
God.
I just getting good laughs and feeling good. I'm gonna tell you, I'll be honest with you, man. Jay Boogie couldn't be Jay Boogie nowhere else. I couldn't be a fan of no other squad, and write music about that squad and you know what I'm saying, and rock with that chat like I rock with our chat, man. For real, man. I love our orange and blue, man, fan base. I love all y'all, man. For real, man. Y'all inspire me to keep doing what I'm doing, I'm just wanted to let y'all know that.
Right. And we love you too, Jay Boogie.
Amen.
Can't wait for that next song to drop.
Wait, Jay Boogie.
I hope one of my drops make it on it, but I appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. You in the building.
East Blue Drew. Yeah, some context now. I don't like Tibbs because he's been in the league how long and how far has he ever gotten? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll ask you, East Blue Drew. Do you think rosters matter? That's all. That's all I'm gonna ask you is, do you think rosters matter? And you're right. I think his playoff winning percentage is 43%. You look at those rosters though, when you look at the teams that they lost to, I don't think they were favorites and lost though. I don't think they were favorites and lost. But
you know who else's winning percentage was 43%?
Who was
Mike
that?
Malone. And then he went 16-4 this
year. Right. Yeah.
Same amount of years too.
Yeah. Steph, I like IQ's defense, but I hate his selfish offense. I'll package IQ and RJ for Brandon Ingram and a Crooklyn second. I would as well, but I will say this. Brandon Ingram's injury history is a concern. And I'm not that high on RJ Barrett's ceiling. I am high on IQ. I'm just wondering about what that type of player would do for this particular team, Brandon Ingram. But he's an injury prone guy. He's an injury prone guy.
I got a question for you, Steph.
Mm-hmm.
What we gonna do with IQ? It seems to me that DiVincenzo was kind of brought in as his replacement. It just seemed that way. I don't see a world where they're on the court together.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think they can play together?
Who's gonna be playing what position? DiVincenzo is gonna play what?
He could play, but I think they could be interchangeable though.
Okay, what the minute distribution gonna be like?
I'm not sure. I think RJ Barrett's minutes come down though, But I
Oh,
think both IQ and DiVincenzo play over 20 minutes a game for sure. I think RJ Barrett minutes come
what's
down.
that lineup gonna look like? Who? How everybody gonna play? Everybody can't play.
I think everybody will play. It's a 9-man rotation. I think everybody is
Okay,
gonna play
so
because
give me.
remember RJ could play take some
But
Obi minutes,
that's one of the
which
problems.
opens
That's one
up
of the
minutes
problems for me.
for DiVincenzo.
But
But let me get
they
to D
stagger
Block.
RJ minutes.
Yes, they will. I
Ah,
believe they will.
but that takes away from what you can give the other bench players.
What other bench plays is
No, I
DiVincenzo?
mean like because on the bench, RJ gets his minutes staggered, so he's going to put the starters in the bench unit. So instead of having all reserves, we'll have RJ in there playing too.
But remember, there's only 4 reserves, so we need to have RJ would be the 5th. There's
Staggering
only
his
4.
minutes.
Yeah, there's only 4. D Block 1755. Tibbs is a terrible in-game adjustment, and he never holds Julius accountable for the nonsense. And furthermore, and just to stick it to you, Brunson is the best player on the team. I hear you,
Yeah,
D Block.
show me Brunson's accolades. Let me know what he's done. Let me know. Let me know.
Hold
Because if
on.
you can't show me anything, we can't have this conversation.
Hold on, quiet money. And thank you, D Block 1755. This is what I'm trying to get to. Just give your reasons so we can understand. So he doesn't he doesn't think Tom Thibodeau is a good coach because he doesn't think his in-game adjustments are good, and he feels like Tom Thibodeau as a coach, he needs to hold Julius accountable for the nonsense on the court. Okay, now we get into it, family. Bring the comments with the reason, with the context. I appreciate that. What I would say about Julius Randle and his accolades, quiet money, that's regular season stuff.
But that's all we got.
But what I'm saying, that's regular season stuff.
That's all we got. We're not a perennial playoff team.
But
that's all
hold
we got
on.
right now.
But we are a playoff team. We've been to the playoffs. We've been to the playoff. But so basically, what you're saying is,
I didn't say you can't. No.
So what I'm hearing you saying,
stinking up in the playoffs. No, I'm not saying that.
No. What I'm hearing you saying is, if you got regular season accolades, that's better than performing in the playoffs because we haven't been to the playoffs a lot.
I mean, we haven't been there.
But we've
played
been there.
82 games, 82 in the regular season. 82. Now it's not everything. No, it's not everything. No, it's not. But you get those accolades during those regular season awards.
Right, but what does it mean though? Look at Philadelphia.
It means that he's one of the best at his position. Okay. That's exactly what it means.
But what does it mean as far as the team moving toward a championship? That's what I'm saying. Look at Embiid. Embiid was MVP of the league. Where's Philly? You understand what I'm saying? So I guess this is just where I differ with people. Some people put a lot on the regular season. I don't. Because when you think about the best of the best in this league, those are the guys that perform in the playoffs. That's where you get your stamp. So when I look at Randle and Brunson, I see 2 guys who performed well on the team last season. Brunson just happens to be playing at a deeper position, point guard, than Julius Randle. If that point guard position was as shallow as the power forward position, and I'm not taking anything away from Randle, Jalen Brunson would have been an all-star and an all-NBA player as well. And if that power forward position was as deep as the point guard position, maybe Randle would have been all-NBA, maybe not. But anyway, quiet money. We getting off. We getting off topic. Met Tibbs has a player in the doghouse every year. Austin Rivers, Kevin Knox, Kemba, 48. RJ is next up. Okay. All right.
RJ put himself in the doghouse. Come on.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I think that's all we got as far as Tom Thibodeau is concerned, and then we can move on to the next. Let me just see. All right, David L. Tibbs defense is a gamble. Let's see if one thing is added, like set defense after transition, stop, no rotation, wrong spacing, guy look lost, no zone, default ends up double coverages. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the rankings. I don't know if you guys were able to see the article from the Athletic.
I didn't look at it. No.
Okay, so basically they rank the players by tiers, and let me get that. So they had Quickly, Grimes, and Barrett in tier 5A. I think each tier had A, B, C. So they had Quickly, Grimes, and Barrett in tier 5A with Klay Thompson. This is just some of them. This is not everybody. Klay Thompson, Horford, Scotty Barnes, Brogdon, Herbert Jones from New Orleans, Westbrook, and Conley were some of the other names in tier 5A. They had Julius Randle in tier 4B with Brooke Lopez, Franz Wagner, Nick Claxton, Austin Reeves, Wembanyama, who hasn't played a minute, Miles Turner, DeJounte Murray, Maxey Towns, and Jarrett Allen. And they had Brunson in tier 3B with Kyrie, Trey Young, Middleton, Draymond, Drew Holiday. Shout out to Stafford Dawn, Drew Holiday in 3B, Siakam, Zion, and Marketing. Now, listen, like I said, this is August. August, this is the dog days of content creation. Okay. But this is the article that came out. Any thoughts on, let's just start with Quickly, Grimes, and Barrett, tier 5, which is the last, tier.
How many players total in the? How many players per
Let me
tier?
see.
Or is
I
it
want to
like,
say 200. Can somebody double check that? I want to say it was 200 players altogether.
I don't put a
Okay.
lot of
I'm not
stock
sure
in
how
this
many
kind of
players it
thing.
was.
Yeah. Okay. Um, what'd you say, Jeff?
I don't put a lot of stock in those kinds of ranking. It's so difficult to compare players at different positions and just, I mean, what criteria are they using? I mean, are they looking at advanced stats? Are they looking at counting stats? Are they, considering a player's role on the team or how successful the team is? I mean, how much time? I mean, Zion Williamson shouldn't be on any list. He plays about 10 minutes a season, you know. I don't, if you like how he sits on the bench, I guess you can put him as high as you want. But for me, I don't want to, I don't want to see that. I, as far as, I mean, I don't really take issue with saying that IQ and RJ are in that tier of players. That may be true, especially if you look at their playoff performance. But the only thing I'll say about from what you told me is it just seems like they criminally underrate Julius Randle.
Right.
I think he's far better than everybody that else that you listed in that
Right.
tier. And I don't have a problem with Jalen Brunson being listed higher, and I think that speaks to where our game is today as far as the guard position kind of being more important than your forward spots, or your guard or wing spot is more highly valued than the big men, kind of opposite from when we were growing up. But so I don't have a problem with that, even though, as you said, Randall was, all NBA, which means, you would think, 3 teams, top 15 player, but that isn't necessarily what that means. It just means that, of the forwards, he's one of the best that are out there, which is great, and I think that's accurate. But I think that to have him in a full tier below Jalen Brunson is mad disrespectful, and I don't really understand how they grade that stuff out. I think it's just we need to get an article out, and if we if we say bad things about the Knicks, we'll get Knicks Nation in an uproar, and they'll click on it and they'll complain, and we'll get lots of views, and my editor will be happy.
Right. Oh, yeah. Boogie or Quiet Money.
I appreciate the chat. We had 84 likes. Appreciate that right there. We had 114 people watching. I really appreciate that. The numbers is going up, man. That's like, that's almost close to that's the best free throw shooter on our team, ain't it? 84? 85? That's good looking. I mean, I don't get it. I'm like
territory now.
I'm like the captain. I don't get into that. Y'all know me. I'm not a stat guy. I don't do stats. I don't talk about stats. None of that. I talk with the eye, the all I seeing, and and as far as when I speak the game. But it's not up to me to feel how I want to feel. Yo, RJ, you don't like where you at? Quickly, you don't like where you at? Grimes, you don't do something about it. When you see them guys, do something about it. And I don't mean going to get a bucket on it. I don't mean outscoring the individual. I mean do things that's going to affect the game in all phases of it against whoever they got you in the column with. And I agree with the captain. That's just ridiculous. And it's no competition, I can say, in that Julius bracket. If anybody feels it is, something is really wrong, you know what I'm saying? Then Brunson, Brunson going to continue on getting the doubters, They doubted about him about being the starter at the point guard over there. Before even being a starter, they doubted him before he even came to the Knicks. Even the own Knicks fans doubted him, you know what I'm saying? So Brunson going to continue being doubted through it. He's been used to that throughout his whole career playing basketball, but he keep proving people wrong. You know what I'm saying? I just say, continue on doing you and continue on playing your game and continue on leading, this franchise, and things are going to pay off because Brunson is on a mission to try to get this team to a championship, and Brunson's going to do whatever it takes. And I don't said it before. When it comes to him to get that money, he's going to take a pay cut because he wants a championship. I'm going to stick by that, and he's going to be the one that's going to help get the right people here, you know what I'm saying? But if you ain't spending that money the right way, then give me my money. Brunson is on the mission. He wants the championship. Out of all the people it is in the world, that could have came here and led this thing to a championship and all that choose to turn around and go different ways, a little small guy, you know what I'm saying, following the footsteps of his dad, but I'm going to be a championship. Nigga, I can hear him talking about that one day, and then, Dad, you played in the championship, but I won the championship. Bragging rights, man. That's what I want, man. So, yeah, as far as, the ratings and all that for the players and all that, that don't mean nothing until you get on that ball court. And you know what I'm saying? When you're on that ball court, just handle your business, man. Everybody know what they need to do. To silence the critics, you know what I'm saying? Silence the man that's in front of you. Silence the team you playing against. That's how people give you your props and your respect. Forget what the media and all that. They don't know. They just covering stories. They don't know what they talking about, man.
Yeah, no doubt. We're up to 90, so if we can get 10 more likes, hit that 100. Appreciate you, Mega NYK. Quiet Money. I had to put you on mute because there was some noise in the background. There you go.
All right.
Hey, real quick, Keith Turner ain't miserable, y'all. He ain't miserable. He just speaking his fact. He just like anybody that's a Knicks fan. He want the Knicks to be in the direction. You know what I'm saying? He wants us to all head in the right direction. So ain't nobody miserable, y'all. I'm sticking up for Keith Turner, even though he don't want to come up here on the show and speak his piece, man.
Yeah. Go ahead, quiet money.
No.
Wait. You can read the comment. I'll go after that.
Yeah, our players need to know it's just like any regular job when wanting a promotion. You want to get a promotion and get paid better, work on your game, do better on your job, and get paid big bucks.
Yeah.
Kazansky Gaming. I hope I got that right. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So on the Brunson thing, like it was so many fans, and I wish I could remember who they were, so I could check them on it. But it was so many Queens. I was not one against them. I swear, I was telling everyone. I'm like, yo, y'all don't know what you're talking about. That guy is nice. He's nice. Look, oh, he's too small. We don't need, because that's what we was in the running to Donovan Mitchell. It's like, we don't need two small guards. I'm like, that ain't. Listen, when they nice and when you nice, look, Garland and Mitchell are smaller than what we have.
Yeah.
That don't mean that. But I was lobbying for Brunson. I knew he was nice. I knew before he came here.
Did you know he was this nice though?
I knew he was this nice.
Wow.
Listen, because it's certain things that a player can do or do on the court when you know they're nice. When you got a counter, when you got 2 or 3 counters and you're going to them seamlessly, either side of the court, you could pull up. He shot 50% from the field. People didn't understand that. He shot like the highest that the year before he came to the Knicks, that year in Dallas. He shot 50% as a 6 foot point guard. That was like the highest of anybody, any guard close to his size. I think the only person that shot what he shot was Jrue Holiday, and he still had percentage points higher as far as field goal percentage. I'm like, yo, he's nice. I was watching him in Dallas because I was betting.
Right.
That allowed me to see a lot of stuff.
Yeah, fantasy basketball too allows you to see a lot of players because you want to see how. Yeah.
That's what it
you're
was.
right.
FanDuel.
Yeah. No doubt. And I'm not paying $50 million for nice ISO. I just think I'm on an island by myself in valuing players that perform, not just perform in the playoffs, but take it up a notch. I think I'm on an island by myself with that.
You're not by yourself. I'm right with you.
I've seen that when I watched Larry Bird, when I've watched Magic Johnson, when I've watched all those old heads. They would play in these situations where other guys were sweltering. Their game was flickering. Like they was barely able to keep up. And those guys was just playing like they was in the playground. It didn't even faze them. And when I saw Brunson, now listen, you can argue. I'm not going to argue with you if you say, all right, he just had one good playoff series about Miami. That doesn't mean he's going to continue to do that. I'm not going to argue with that. But when I saw that Miami series, it reminded me of those knockdown, drag out series where the coach is sending everything and everybody and keying on you, and you ain't even got a lot of help, and you still performing. Pay that man. If he takes a pay cut, right? If he takes a pay cut, fine. But if he say he want his money, pay him.
Bernard King, 1984, took us to Game 7 against Boston in those semifinals, beat Detroit single-handedly. I mean, it's the beatingest thing I've seen since then, and I don't mean to disrespect Patrick Ewing through all that because Ewing had some years too, but and maybe it's just because that's my first Knicks season. My first memories of the Knicks was Bernard King's heroics and outdueling Isaiah Thomas and taking on Bird, Parrish, and McHale. And I mean, he went blow for blow with them. I mean, and you just saw Brunson. I mean, they threw, this is Spoelstra, defensive mastermind, throwing everything in his power at him, and he just can't stop him anyway. He's just shrugging his shoulders like, what do? I have no answers for this guy. That's special.
And even before that, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget, yo, he played against the Claw. He played against Paul George. You know, he gave them people fits over there. You know what I'm saying? We got a lethal point guard, but man, just know he's not. Brunson is bigger than money. And you know, people they keep talking about money. Brunson is not thinking about money, even though he wants to take care of his family. Brunson sees the bigger picture, man. Brunson is the only what dude has come here that's recruited. He's recruited. So that's tell you that he want people around him, you know what I'm saying, that can help him get to a certain thing. And he knows he can't vacuum clean all the money. He know he's in position. But Brunson, I keep telling y'all, Brunson wants a championship. And there's no championship better than a New York Knicks championship. I don't care what sport it is. It could be hockey. It can be baseball. It can be the NFL. It can be soccer. Ain't no celebration going to be more crazier than a New York Knicks championship. And that's what Brunson sees. He's going to do everything in his power to make sure he puts this team in position to make sure they're going down that path to win a championship. And being in position means that he's going to have to sacrifice a little money to make sure the right players get around him. Don't be surprised if he do something like a 2-year deal. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure he keep money available. But right now, the team, you think Brunson didn't know his man Josh wanted to come over here? You think he ain't pushed the button over there, said, Leon, go get him? You think him and Josh ain't get together and go get, you know what I'm saying, Dante? You think they really ain't pushing the button over there in that Olympic thing, you know, tell us, yo, get here, stop playing? Yeah, they serious about it, you know? You got to give Brunson a little bit more. He's not going to be no $50 million. When the last time you seen the Knicks pay somebody $50 million, man? Come on, man. A season. Come on.
Well, the salary cap is different now.
Especially somebody that didn't recruit. That just tells me that I want to win. Go get my guys. Right. Let me bring these guys in. Ain't nobody else done it. Melo ain't do it. Fitz I call him Kermit from Paid Full. He's still in that side with the BBS. We had the Cameron rolled up on him with the motorcycle, man. He couldn't recruit. You know, this guy's recruiting, man. That's what we need. Somebody that can recruit.
We shall see, Boogie. Kevin Bergen, being concerned with salary is relevant to fans because there's something called salary cap. And teams aren't paying that crazy tax for a team that's not contending. I'll take it one step further, Kevon. That part is true. But with this new CBA, what I'm more concerned about is being locked into a team that's not a championship contender, and it's being difficult to improve the team. That's more of a concern to me than the salary cap for me. But I hear what you're saying. All right, people talk about listen. Both Brunson and Randle were at the top of the scouting report. So let's not start with the the fans like Brunson, but Randle was the only one that was getting game plan for. In that Miami series, they were able to take Randle out of the game, partly because of the injury, partly because they were able to defend him one-on-one with Bam, and partly because they were able to pack the key and turn the Knicks into a jump shooting team. So Brunson was being game planned for in that Miami series, without a doubt.
Exactly.
And Brunson makes Randle better.
And vice versa.
Yes. Agreed.
And vice versa. Though when you look at how Miami, I mean how he was able to come through with very little help in that Miami game, but over 82 game season, that's hard to do. So you're right. You know, they both play off each other, and that gives them the space. And if we can ever get consistent shooting, the Knicks go to the next level because both of those guys create open looks. Say what you want to say about Randle in the double team. his passing out the double team. Say what you want to say about Brunson being ISO. Both of those guys draw a lot of attention, and you get a lot of open shots off of those guys.
And Queen, I think if I'm correct, Randle was third most double team player in the association.
Mm-hmm.
Can't
Oh,
stop
okay.
him. That's it. Can't
Yeah.
stop him.
Yikes!
Yeah. And the better shooting we have, the less you can double team.
Yep.
The better shooting we have, the less you can double team. Shout out, sis. Listen to Pamela Willis. Watching on Facebook. What up, family? Let's remember JB did his thing in Dallas and now in New York. He also be around this league when he was young and watching his father. We have a point guard, you know. I mean, listen, one of the things I also like is somebody who has to prove their self each step of the way. Because those are the guys that's not going to ever get comfortable. Those are the guys that's not going to ever think that I've arrived, right? Even now, Brunson doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't get the respect he deserves in our fan base, and even even outside of that. But he's used to it. I'm tight. He ain't tight. You know what I mean? He used to that. You know.
Don't take no shorts neither. He can't afford to because he's everybody down, and you can't take no shorts. You gotta be working harder than everybody else. You gotta be constantly showing and improving.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Last question I have, um, you know, about the FIBA. RJ Barrett played well in the playoffs, played well in the FIBA exhibition games. How confident are you that what he did in the playoffs, what he's doing in the exhibition games will roll over into the regular season? He plays tomorrow morning, by the way. I forgot the team, but he plays 9:30 tomorrow morning, Team Canada on ESPN Plus. So if you want to watch RJ Barrett, 9:30 tomorrow, ESPN Plus. And the United States plays Saturday against New Zealand at 8:40 a.m. in the morning. So set those alarm clocks on ESPN2. On ESPN2. But any thoughts on RJ Barrett and whether you think what he's doing now will translate into the regular season?
I hope so. I don't put a lot of stock in FIBA. Evan Fournier is a FIBA giant, and I don't think that necessarily translates into. Uh, it's. I think it has its value. I think it's good to play with a lot of good players and get that sweat on and keep you in game condition for when the season shows up. So from that standpoint, great. But because he scored 30 points and I don't even know what he's doing. I'm not even following it that close because it doesn't really matter that much to me. I mean, I want the U.S. to win, and it'd be cool if Jalen and Josh, were a big part of that. But as far as I'm concerned, nothing RJ Barrett does matters until we hit the regular season ground running, and I need to see him not start off slow. And I think as much as this is the year for Tibbs, this is the year for RJ too. I think it's a show and prove year for RJ because it's not like other teams in the past. If RJ doesn't play well, we have players who can take his spot. And I don't think necessarily we had that 2 years ago, So, but to be optimistic for a second, because I don't want to, be accused of just all RJ hate all the time. Barrett tends to perform best in those circumstances. When his feet are to the fire a little bit, he tends to pick his game up a notch, and that's to his credit. I mean, his inefficiency still drives me crazy, but I really do think when the pressure gets tighter, he tends to have the ability to step it up a little bit. I think you saw that the game winner in Boston a couple years ago. I think you saw that in the majority of the playoffs. I mean, he went 1 for 10 in Game 6, but so did everybody else, not named Brunson. So I'm not going to kill him. But so from that standpoint, I mean, do your thing, RJ. I hope Team Canada loses to Team USA. Other than that, silver. I don't care. But I don't put a lot of stock. I don't think it means that he's all of that is automatically going to translate to a great season. And oh, by the way, if he played poorly in FIBA, I don't think that necessarily would say that automatically means that he's going to play poorly once the NBA season starts. I don't know that there's any correlation there, statistical correlation there. And if there is, I'd be fascinated to see what it is. And I'm all about learning stuff. So if someone can come up with something different, I'm all about learning that. But as far as I'm concerned, go at it, have fun, don't get hurt.
Yeah. Anybody else?
It's on RJ. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all already know how I feel about it. The situation dealing with RJ. It's his 5th year. You know what I'm saying? 5 years in the league, dude. You gotta have it. This is your 2nd year. Your 2nd year being the 3rd option behind Julius and Brunson. What that means? Guess what? You got the 3rd weakest defensive player. You got the 3rd best defensive player that's checking you, and he probably is a helper. This is your 2nd year behind Grimes. You're not checking the best perimeter ball player. So you have no excuses why you can't have all-out effort on both sides of the floor. I need you to do more on the defensive end this year. And I need you to be accurate and consistent on the offensive end. And it doesn't mean scoring, passing the ball, reading and understanding. I need you to be able to do all that in your 5th year, especially when you're not the number 1 option, not the number 2 option. You're the 3rd option. You're supposed to be crushing somebody, And then on defense, I need you to do extra things, get extra rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Get some charges. You big and strong enough, you can take charges. Brunson out there taking them. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta be a great defensive player, but be a good thief. LeBron and D-Wade, they tell you we wasn't good defensive players, but we was good thieves. They know how to play the passing lane and all that. You got to step your game all the way up on defensive end. And just with that, that's all I got from RJ. Because this FIBA ain't nothing but preseason. I seen them cook like this in preseason and jump into the regular season and take off after the All-Star break. Come on, man. Show up, man. Show up. The team is riding on you. Or you can go in that trade package. You can get up out of here.
Where do you, Quiet Money, you can answer this too. I'm coming to you next. What does salute, Ron? The link is in the chat, Ron. Pin to the top. What do you think? You can answer the first question. I'm gonna throw this out there as well. What is his role on next year's team? Like, what type of game from RJ would complement Brunson and Randle? I think we agree. Whoever you think is the best, those are our 2 best players. And who, like, I just don't think we need another player like those 2 guys, right? I think if whoever the 3rd best player is, need to bring something that complements those guys. So I guess my question is, what does RJ game look like next year for you that you think could help this team?
What we need RJ to do so he could complement Brunson and Randle. I don't think he's capable of doing. And that's my issue. That's my
what
issue.
would it look like? What can he do that you think would complement them?
See, this is my problem. I don't think he's good at nothing. I mean, I heard you and Freezy. I caught a little piece of you and Freezy in the neighborhood show, And yeah, you Freezy. I think Freezy was trolling, you know.
He might have been. He does
Yeah,
that
because he a
often.
super major RJ Barrett fan. But I don't think he's good at nothing. So how can you grab a role, right? How could you grab a role when you're not good at anything? Your role that you play is gonna have to be something that you're good at. Like if you're gonna be our designated 3-point shooter, then you're gonna have to shoot threes good. If you're gonna be our defender, wing defender, you're gonna have to play good wing defense. If you know what I mean, if you're gonna be our drive guy, you gotta finish out the rim good. I don't know. There's nothing that he does well. So and I say I come up as a hater, but it's not that I'm a hater. It's just that I don't see anything. And the way from what I learned in my days watching basketball, when you get a good team, when you have a good team, everybody has a role that they perform most nights. They do that. They do that. It's what they do every night. So I don't. If you can't do anything good, what you answer the question for me? Because I don't know. I don't know. It seems
Well,
like he hinders more than helps.
yeah, I would agree with you, but this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that he can be a catch and shoot player at least 35%. Because I think in that starting lineup, playing off of Brunson and Randle, they need to have shooters around them. I'm hoping that when he runs with that second unit, that's when he can now be more of a primary player on the offense. So more in a support role when he's starting with those two guys and getting them shots off of them, whether that's a catch and shoot, whether it's getting it, faking, and attacking the closeouts, whatever he does. But when he's with that second unit, I would like him if he can be one of the primary players. But to your point, that means finishing at the rim on your drives or setting up other guys on your drives. Now, he did that in the playoffs. He looked good with that. The highlights, I'm going to watch the game tomorrow morning. But from the highlights that I've seen in the exhibition games, he's been doing that. Driving, drawing, kicking, getting shots to other people. So in
Okay,
a perfect world, but these are all things he's not done well up to this point. But this is what I'm hopeful that he'll be able to do
okay.
next season. And let me
My
add one
only
more thing.
my only thing to that.
Defend his
I'm sorry.
position. That's the longest shot, though.
Yeah, the only thing with that is that you're not playing against NBA talent. I know what I've noticed about a lot of FIBA players, they don't have lateral quickness. Most of them don't. They're like, they're cones. A lot of them are cones on defense. So he can get by them. It's pretty easy. He said, they asked him, they said, oh, what's the difference? He's like, oh, the lane is wide open. There's nobody at the rim. There's nobody there to challenge him. So it's just a straight line drive cutting to the rim. So that's easy. I take no stock. I put no stock whatsoever in FIBA play. None.
But he did it in the playoffs too, though. His floor game was good in the playoffs as well.
But see, this is the thing about the playoffs, right? It's playoffs is matchups. So if you had a weaker matchup, like the series used to talk the Cleveland series, right? That's when he had. That's when he had his best playoff games, right? It was the Cleveland series, right?
He had some good games against Miami as well.
I don't remember too much. I mean, it was over in 6, so we didn't play that many. But in the Cleveland series, for example, I know he did good. I saw it, and I know he had a good series. But even that, it was about matchups. He had Karis LeVert on him. He's much smaller than RJ Barrett. So it was easy for him to get to where he wanted to get. Karis LeVert ain't impeding nobody's progress. Darius Garland ain't impeding nobody's progress. And Donovan Mitchell is so busy trying to score all the points for the team.
But in all fairness, though, when he got to that rack, they had Mobley and Jared Allen back there, and he was able to finish. I'm not going to
Yeah.
take anything away from him
No. I'm not.
in
I'm not. I
in the
wasn't trying to
playoffs
take
though.
anything away from him, but
Hmm.
it's just he had a good series. I'm not taking it away from him. He had a good
Right.
series against him.
And I'm
That's for sure.
hoping, I'm hoping um it translate. Jeff, you want to comment any on FIBA or what you're did you say? Did you? I think
I
you
said
went
about
He
first.
FIBA
said he's not
already.
interested in FIBA.
Oh, okay. Well, where do you see RJ's role next season? What are you hoping you get out of him?
Oh, man.
Well, to me, play passable defense and finish at the rim. Like your number one skill on offense is his ability to get to the cup consistently. People can't really stop him from getting to the rim, but he stops himself because he can't make it within 5 feet of the basket. I mean, if he just makes it at an average level,
Right.
I think that lifts his game up. But really, what I would like to see is his usage come down and really be, really take a lesson from Julius Randle last year. You remember when Randle last year, he really changed his shot chart. Everything was either a 3-pointer or it was at the rim. So I would like to see him be a little bit more selective in his shots and take better shots. And I think if he does that, then that will increase his percentage. Like sometimes he gets in there and he barrels his way into the paint and he's got nowhere to go. So he just throws up some garbage and hopes that it goes in. I would just as soon him not even take that shot. You double team, find the open guy and kick out, and then save yourself the miss. And then so have his process be better and just lower the volume and increase the productivity, because I think if he takes better shots, like what was it 2 years ago when he was shooting like 40% from the corners,
Yes.
let's have him shoot more from there. Because that was the spot where he was effective. Let's take shots. Let's have a shot diet that's going to maximize the things that the areas that you do better at. He doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but I do think that there are certain places on the court where he can be effective. So let's accentuate those, focus on those. And as Jay Boogie said, please, 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 please play defense.
I mean, well, sometimes the effort wasn't there, but I do wonder with his bulking up if he even has the lateral quickness. I wonder if there's some physical limitation. Same thing with Fournier. Wasn't that Fournier wasn't trying? There was just physical limitation. So I'm wondering if that's some of the issue with with
He's even
RJ
bigger
Barrett.
now. He like he put on about 5 to 10 pounds. So.
Yeah. We shall see. We shall see. I'm gonna watch the game tomorrow, and see if I see anything different. But yeah, I'm not really looking like people say, "Oh, I want him to pull up off the dribble. If he can get a mid-range shot, look, just perfect what you're doing right now. Those catch and shoots, finishing at the rim, hit your free throws, play like that's getting consistent at what you're already doing is another way of taking your game to another level. You don't always have to add something else. So we shall see.
A question, Steph. Is the FIBA 3-point line the same as the NBA 3-point line?
No, it's closer. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a little
in
closer
between
than
the college line and the pro line. I think it's right in the middle there.
Oh.
I could be mistaken on that, but I think
No,
that
I think you're right. I think you're correct because that's what I heard. I wasn't sure. I remember, matter of fact, I think when I think about it, I think about when we had Melo, he was at FIBA. They were saying, they were talking about how the line is closer. And Melo was like, oh, God, he was like a demigod out there. Yeah, so,
Olympic Melo was a sight to behold.
Right. No doubt. That's all I have. I mean, if you guys have something you want to discuss, if the chat has something any questions for us, but that's all I have.
Well, I have something. First, I'd like to say thank you, Quiet Money, for coming on and being brave and
Definitely.
joining us. I thought you did a great job. We appreciate you. You adding
Right.
to the
Appreciate y'all.
content. And Queen, you're the best as always. I always appreciate the
definitely.
opportunity. Y'all get
Of course.
those likes up. Y'all don't realize it's like coaching. Y'all don't realize how hard the Queen works to get these stuff together, man. She works really hard to
They
put
don't
these shows
realize.
together. And she's on the road and she's putting these shows together.
I
So,
yeah, I am on the road.
so that's even more impressive. And Jay Boogie, you always the closer. You always deserve props. We can't wait for your next big thing, man. You just keep doing what you do, bro.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you all. Definitely appreciate the Queen. You know, she has constant, nonstop work going on. You know, and that's just not podcast. What a lot of people got to know and understand. Everybody that you see, you know, on podcasts or hosting shows, you know, they have professions. They have other professions going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's never a break in between the profession and also entertaining. You know what I'm saying? The chats, you know, for the podcast. So yeah, I definitely take my hat off. Always salute the big sis, as well as all
Appreciate
the podcast hosts, and as well as all the ones that's in the chat. That's always, you know, um type in, you know, how they feel, what they going through, what they like, what they don't like, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to the big fight main event tonight, man. Stafford Don and Keith Turner, they was really going at it. You know what I'm saying? But
There's going at it.
it ended
But
in the
there was
draw
an
like
undercard too. There was an
yeah,
undercard as well.
yeah. It ended in the draw like Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns. So, you know what I'm saying? That was good. And just one thing I just want to shout out, yo. I want to, not a shout out, but I want to sit out, yo, David Stern. I mean, not David Stern. May you rest in heaven. Commissioner, make it right, dude. You know what you need to do. Make it right. Because if the shoe was on the other side, the other foot, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be looking to smash us in the head. Go over there and I need a first round draft pick from this situation, from them people. And
Yes.
after you give us that pick, don't stop there because Nurse had something to do with it. He took it in and he used it. Go get 10 games from him in Philly too. You know what I'm saying? Handle your business and do what's supposed to be done for the Knicks. Because if it had been us on the other way around, we'd have been the laughing stock, the laughing joke all over, everywhere. But it's not us. We on our come up. And while we coming up doing what we supposed to do, we got people that's cheating. You know what I'm saying? I call it deep undercover. You know what I'm saying? I can feel it. Yeah, Felix the Rat. Yeah, he was in the situation. Even deep cover on us, you know. But make it right, Commissioner. Make it right and give us a first round draft pick and go over there and take 10 games, you know what I'm saying, from Nurse. I ain't saying take the games from Philly, but make sure Nurse can't coach at least 10 games. You know what I'm saying? Do what's right for the New York Knicks.
Wow. All right. Shots
That J
fired.
stands for Judge Boogie. He just laid the hammer down on it. Guilty.
Judge Boogie.
No doubt. No doubt. I appreciate you guys. Jeff, always a pleasure. Oh, I did a podcast. You know, I'm in a location. I don't know how many, a lot of y'all in the chat might be young, but for those who are not young and remember dial up, that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Trying to
you in
upload.
the
Trying to upload this podcast I did with Simeon Russell from Nothing But Knicks yesterday, which if I have to say so myself, I thought it was fire. I thought he gave some good insights on Tom Thibodeau. So I'm gonna try to upload it again. It was on like 9% when I when I got on the show.
It was too good to download.
So I hope to have that up and running tomorrow. So wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple, Google, FM player, wherever you listen to your podcast, if you search for the Just Nicking It podcast, it's gonna come up. That interview with Simeon Russell will be there. The one I did with Jeff on Mitchell Robinson will be there. The one I did with Anthony D and Stafford Don on Julius Randle will be there as well. So yeah.
Yeah,
Paris
tonight, Queen, I
Duggar.
get a chance to thank you for having me on.
Of
I
anytime,
appreciate you.
anytime.
I
I'm
look
sorry I had to
forward.
cut you off, but we was
Nah,
going
it's
down that
okay. It's okay.
random track. I felt like we wasn't
got
gonna
so
come back.
it's okay. I got so much to say.
Come on,
got
come
so
on.
much on my chest. But no, I appreciate you
You
for
welcome
having
to
me
come
on.
on.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to come on. What I can.
Yeah,
But I appreciate you for having me on.
of course, of
Salute
course.
to this panel, and y'all were awesome. Queen, keep doing your thing. Like
I
you're my
definitely will.
favorite podcaster.
I
You're my
appreciate that.
favorite.
I
You're my
appreciate that.
favorite. You're my favorite. I
I
rock with you.
appreciate that.
So you
I
definitely
appreciate
keep
that.
doing your thing.
Yeah, yeah. Now and Quiet Money, I met in person. If you guys get an opportunity, come out to the MBK event so that we can meet in person. I got an opportunity to meet Quiet Money at a few MBK events. Great guy, Brooklyn Knight. At least from the last time he was a Brooklyn Knight. I don't know. He might have moved on.
No, I'm forever Brooklyn. I'm not a Nets fan, but I'm forever Brooklyn.
Right. For sure.
Hardcore.
Appreciate you, and Boogie, my brother. Appreciate you.
Most love.
Always supporting all of the Nick podcasters. I think one time I was listening to Macri. Boogie was in the chat. I said, "Look at him.
Yeah.
He like God, no respect to person. He just wherever he can
Yeah,
support."
that's the film school guy. You gotta love and appreciate all of them because there's a lot of teams out there. They don't have the position that we got, and you gotta love and appreciate the position that we got, man. We got a lot of great content going on, and people that know the game, and people that played the game, and people that appreciate the game, and everybody shares it. So yeah, I love. That's why I don't have to have a show. Trust me, Chad. If I wanted a show, I could have been put a show out, been done that. But that's not my thing, And how I come up is, I learned to play my position, and the position that I got, I appreciate and love the position that I am and what I play, the role I play. But two quick real notes. You got to listen to detail. Listen to the detail. I think that Dame Lillard thing get ready to fall all the way apart. Think he gonna have to find somewhere to go. Because Eric did say in an interview, during the Olympics, you know what I'm saying? I like our guys and I like our chances. Our guys coming back, and Tyler is more healthy. Tyler was one of the major targets in that trade. So when Eric said that, you got to listen to detail. They might be, moving away from it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's taking too long. And, the Greek don't put out a detail. Greek don't say, come next month, I'm not signing no extension until the team show me that they ready to compete. That's what he said. That's what the Greek said. So I ain't saying I'm just relying what to the detail what Eric said and relying what Greek said. So what I'm saying, we might Aaron Rodgers. I know we get ready to play you, but get on that phone and call Greek and tell him how we treated you when you came here. Imagine if he get here. You think you got love? Shoot, we go, man. Shoot, if Greek was here, you think Aaron got love? What?
Yeah. That's my guy. That's who I would like, the Greek freak.
Giannis?
Giannis, that's my guy. I know he's not a great shooter. I know he's not a great shooter, but that is
I don't care about that.
So give me him and give me Greek and Donovan. It's on.
Push my chips to the middle of the table for that guy. Shout out to Paris Duggar. Appreciate the super track. Great show as usual, Queen. Nothing new though. Okay. And I just wanna. Where were they? Okay. Shaw Legacy. The chat was dangerous tonight. The comments tonight was on fire. It was. It was a lot of smoke. There was a lot of smoke in the chat.
Yeah.
J Tap, I appreciate you always supporting my brother. I appreciate you. I'm gonna watch this broadcast again just for the live comments. Yeah.
Got a show?
Really?
J Tap got a show?
Does he? No, I think he said he's gonna watch this show again. That's what I thought he said.
Okay. I'll watch it again. That's what's up.
Right, just
it was
for
definitely
the live.
a good show. The show was fire tonight.
Yeah.
Show was fire.
Definitely. Until next time, Jeff, J Boogie, Quiet Money, the chat, the replay game. I'm getting to those comments this weekend. I'm behind on answering the comments. I'm a little behind, but I'm going to get to them this weekend. Until next time, appreciate it.
You tune in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.